Imagine a regime responsible for the deaths of up to 45 million people. That was Mao Zedong's rule in China. Mao Zedong, a name that echoes through the annals of history not as a beacon of hope, but as a chilling reminder of the darkest depths humanity can plunge into when power goes unchecked. Rising to prominence as the leader of the Chinese Communist Party, Mao's vision was to transform a war-torn China into a global superpower. However, his dreams were built on a foundation of nightmares, with a death toll that staggers the mind and numbs the soul. The magnitude of these losses is not merely a statistic, it's a testament to the millions of lives extinguished under his rule. These were mothers, fathers, children, people whose existence was snuffed out by catastrophic policies. Mao's reign was marked by catastrophic policies that led to human suffering on an unprecedented scale. In 1958, Mao launched the Great Leap Forward, a campaign that would lead to the largest famine in human history. This was his attempt to modernize China's economy, to transform the nation from an agrarian society into an industrial powerhouse. But the plan was flawed from its inception, based on a misguided understanding of economic and social realities. Mao's vision was to create large-scale communes where peasants would work together, sharing resources and output. But the reality was far from this utopian vision. The communes were forced labor camps where people worked long hours under brutal conditions without the necessary resources or skills to succeed in their tasks. The consequences were catastrophic. The extreme collectivization and unrealistic production targets led to widespread food shortages. The Great Chinese Famine ensued, a period of mass starvation that claimed the lives of an estimated 30 million people. This wasn't just a failure of policy, it was a callous disregard for human life. Even as the country starved, the government exported grains to maintain its international image and pay off debts. The state-controlled media propagated a narrative of abundance, even as people were dying of hunger in the streets. The Great Leap Forward was a great leap into disaster, causing suffering and death on an unimaginable scale. It stands as a stark reminder of the horrors that can ensue when power is unchecked and reality is twisted to fit ideological visions. As if the Great Leap Forward wasn't horrific enough, Mao initiated the Cultural Revolution in 1966. A decade of turmoil, violence, and widespread persecution, it marked a dark period in China's history. Mao Zedong, seeking to reassert his control over the Chinese Communist Party, announced a campaign to purge impure elements from Chinese society. His targets were intellectuals, bourgeoisie elements, and traditionalists, whom he believed were infiltrating the party and the government. The Cultural Revolution was not a revolution in the conventional sense, it was a war against culture itself. The Red Guards, young zealous students, were Mao's foot soldiers. They roamed the country, enforcing Mao's directives, often with brutal force. Teachers, artists, and intellectuals were publicly humiliated, beaten, and even killed. Ancient artifacts, books, and art were destroyed in an attempt to erase China's rich cultural heritage. The human rights abuses were staggering. Millions were displaced from their homes, forced into hard labor or re-education camps, and subjected to public denunciations. Families were torn apart, traditions were shattered, and an entire generation grew up in an atmosphere of fear and violence. The Cultural Revolution also crippled China's economy and education system. Schools were closed for years, and it took decades for the country to recover from the economic devastation. The Cultural Revolution wasn't a revolution but a massacre, leaving a lasting scar on Chinese society. This decade-long nightmare serves as a chilling reminder of the destructive power of unchecked authority and ideological extremism. Despite the horrific acts committed during his rule, Mao Zedong is still revered by some in China today. This reverence paints a paradoxical picture of a leader who, on one hand, led his country through an era of unprecedented suffering, and on the other, is seen as a figure of national strength and pride. His policies caused the deaths of millions, yet he is remembered as a revolutionary hero who modernized China and asserted its place on the world stage. Mao's portrait still hangs in Tiananmen Square, his face graces banknotes, and his mausoleum remains a popular tourist attraction. This dichotomy is a stark reminder of the complex legacy of Mao Zedong, a man whose influence continues to shape China decades after his death. Mao Zedong's reign was a period of intense suffering and death, a chilling testament to the horrors of absolute power. As we move forward from the era of Mao Zedong, it's essential to understand the paradox that surrounds him. The image of Mao as a national hero and a harsh dictator coexists in the minds of many. This duality is not unique to Mao or China. It can be found in the narrative of many nations and leaders throughout history. The challenge lies in separating the individual from the ideology, the leader from the legacy. It is only through this lens that we can hope to understand the full impact of Mao's reign on China and the world at large. Mao's rule, while marked by significant suffering, also set the stage for the economic powerhouse that China is today. It's a complex, multifaceted legacy that continues to spark debate. As we delve deeper into history, we must remember to approach these narratives with a critical mind, acknowledging the atrocities while also understanding the socio-political context of the time. As we continue to unravel the paradox of Mao Zedong, we hope to shed light on the complexities of history, offering a more nuanced understanding of the past and its implications for the present and future. And that's it for today's video. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more insightful videos. Stay curious, stay informed, and as always, keep learning.